Justice James Omotosho, the new judge assigned to Nnamdi Kanu's case, says the length of the trial may have taken a toll on Nnamdi Kanu. He said when he was arraigned in 2015, he was 47. Now he is 57 and still does not know where he is headed. This, according to him, may have led him to make certain comments which were not right. Justice James Omotosho also tendered an apology to the prosecutor on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu. The presiding judge noted that when Nnamdi Kanu was first arraigned in 2015, he was 47 years old, and now, 10 years later, he is 57. This highlighted the prolonged nature of the case without a clear resolution. Justice James Omotosho tendered an apology to the prosecution and federal government on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu, signaling a possible shift in the case's direction. Chief Agabi, Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, apologized to Justice Binta Nyako, the prosecution team, and the federal government, stating that Nnamdi Kanu had been angry for a long time. The judge's statements suggested empathy towards Nnamdi Kanu and an acknowledgement that the case had dragged on too long, possibly indicating a fairer judgment. However, some critics have argued that even if Nnamdi Kanu were guilty of terrorism charges, a typical prison term would have ended by now, making his continued detention unjust. The prolonged detention is described as a deliberate attempt to break Nnamdi Kanu's spirit and discourage his movement for Biafra. Justice James Omotosho's comments indirectly pointed out the flaws in the prosecution's case, questioning why Nnamdi Kanu was still being detained despite previous favorable court rulings. The critic claims that Nnamdi Kanu's absence has worsened security in the region, leading to increased terrorist activities and displacement of communities in places like Enugu State. The critic insists that Nnamdi Kanu's release is necessary to restore stability in the region and to address the rising insecurity. He emphasizes that Nnamdi Kanu, despite being wealthy and privileged, sacrificed his comfort to fight for his people, countering claims that he is a criminal. The case involving Nnamdi Kanu has taken on a new dimension as Judge James Omotosho, the new presiding judge on the matter, has hinted at a possibility of releasing Nnamdi Kanu after a decade of legal limbo. In a courtroom session that has caught the attention of many, the judge expressed concern that the long-drawn trial might have worn on the defendant's spirit. When Nnamdi Kanu was first arraigned in 2015, he was 47 years old. Now, 10 years later, he is 57 and still uncertain about his future. This extended period of waiting, as Judge James Omotosho explained, might have contributed to certain comments made by Nnamdi Kanu that were not appropriate. In a gesture that has surprised many, the judge even tendered an apology on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu to both the prosecution and the federal government. During the session, Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, Chief Agabi, also expressed regret to Justice Binta Nyako, the prosecution team, and the federal government. Chief Agabi explained that his client had harbored anger for a long time, suggesting that the emotional toll of being held in legal uncertainty had contributed to his behavior. This admission brings to the forefront the human cost of prolonged detention, where years of uncertainty can lead to frustration and, in turn, to actions or words that do not reflect the true character of the individual. It is a reminder that beyond legal procedures, there is a human story, a story of a man whose life has been shaped and, in many ways, marred by a judicial process that has taken far too long. Judge James Omotosho's remarks did more than just acknowledge the emotional weight of the trial. By highlighting that Nnamdi Kanu was 47 when he first appeared in court and now is 57, the judge underscored the gravity of a situation in which a man's fate has been suspended for an entire decade. This timeline raises important questions about the balance between ensuring public safety and the right of an individual to a speedy trial and clear resolution. The judge's apology was not only a personal expression of regret, but also served as a subtle rebuke to the extended judicial process. It suggested that the case might have been allowed to continue longer than was justifiable, with negative repercussions for all parties involved. Critics of the prosecution have long argued that even if Nnamdi Kanu were to be found guilty on terrorism charges, the sentence typically imposed would have been much shorter than the time he has already spent in detention. They contend that his continued imprisonment, despite favorable rulings from the Appeal Court and the Supreme Court, indicates that the process has shifted away from justice and toward a form of punitive prolongation designed to break his spirit. Many observers have pointed out that the extended detention might even have contributed to worsening security conditions in the region, as it has alienated certain groups and fueled further discontent. In places like Enugu State, some have noted an increase in acts of terrorism and community displacement, conditions that could be alleviated if the legal process were to finally deliver a resolution. What makes the current proceedings particularly noteworthy is the language used in the courtroom. The empathetic tone of Judge James Omotosho's statements stands in contrast to the more aggressive posturing that has often characterized similar cases. His willingness to apologize on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu conveys a recognition that the human being behind the legal case has suffered due to a system that, at times, seems indifferent to the cost of its own delays. The judge's remarks imply that the prolonged nature of the trial might have been more damaging than any punitive measures could have been, suggesting that justice must be tempered with an understanding of human frailty. This empathy, whether seen as a weakness or a strength, marks a departure from the rigidity of previous sessions and raises the possibility of a more balanced outcome. The apology from Chief Agabi further reinforces this human-centered approach. By stating that his client had been angry for a long time and that the situation had escalated as a result, Chief Agabi provided context for Nnamdi Kanu's behavior. His words remind the audience that the legal battle is not just about abstract charges or political maneuvering. It is about the life of a man who has sacrificed much in his fight for the cause he believes in. According to his supporters, Nnamdi Kanu is not the criminal that some portray him to be, but a man driven by a deep sense of duty and love for his people. His willingness to endure years of hardship despite the personal cost has earned him admiration from those who see him as a champion of his community. This prolonged legal ordeal has broader implications for the justice system as a whole. The fact that Nnamdi Kanu has been held in detention for 10 years without a definitive judgment raises critical concerns about the efficiency and fairness of the judicial process. It brings into question whether the current system is capable of balancing the demands of national security with the rights of individuals who find themselves caught up in long-drawn legal battles. The judge's remarks seem to acknowledge that there is a pressing need for the system to evolve, to recognize that justice delayed is, in many respects, justice denied. The repeated emphasis on the defendant's age and the time that has passed serves as a stark reminder that behind every case is a person whose life is on hold. As observers continue to debate the merits and shortcomings of this case, many see the current courtroom developments as a turning point. The gesture by Judge James Omotosho to apologize on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu is interpreted by some as a precursor to a more favorable judgment.
Good evening everyone, thanks for joining me in this video. This is another video about the court process of Nnamdi Kanu's trial today with Justice James Omotosho. There are a lot of things that transpired in the court today, and I think a lot of people are not seeing it the way it is. Now in this video, I will explain what you have been hearing, that Nnamdi Kanu apologized to Justice Binta Nyako and the federal government lawyers. I will explain what transpired. And you must have heard that Justice James Omotosho, who is the presiding judge apologize for Nnamdi Kanu or apologize on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu? What warrants that for a judge to apologize on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu? And another thing I want to let you know is that despite I don't have faith in Nigerian judiciary, Justice James Omotosho shows a signal that he is going to be fair. Though without the pronunciation of a judge, you can't even know what he has in mind. But with his gesture today, I am going to let you understand in this video why I said that Justice James Omotosho has showed readiness, that he is ready to free Nnamdi Kanu. Now, let us start with what really transpired. As you can see on the screen, shortly after the appearances cancelled to Nnamdi Kanu, Chief Agabi pleaded to address the court. He started by apologizing on behalf of his client, stating that they are now at a place where they must apologize to Justice Binta Nyako, the prosecution team, and his lawyers. He added that Kanu was angry and had been for a very long time. He said the attack on Justice Binta Nyako was unjustified. He apologized to his team, whom he attacked verbally. Yeah, that was Agabi, the New Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Nnamdi Kanu, picked to join his legal team. Now, what Agabi said today is that I want to apologize to Binta Nyako on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu, my client, and also to the federal government lawyers. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Immediately, Agabi finished speaking, the presiding judge, who is Justice James Omotosho, now enter into the matter. Justice Omotosho says the length of the trial may have taken a toll on Nnamdi Kanu. He said when he was arraigned in 2015, he was 47. That is, Justice James Omotosho is now talking that when Nnamdi Kanu was arraigned in Nigerian court, that he himself was 47 years old. This, now he is 57 and still does not know where he is headed. This, according to him, may have led him to make certain comments which were not right. Justice Omotosho also tendered an apology to the prosecutor on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu. Now, this is a very good gesture. A lot of people might not understand what led here. Okay? Now, it's important you get it right. A presiding judge apologized on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu, and he quoted that when federal government arraigned Nnamdi Kanu in 2015, that he was 47 years old, and now he is now 57 years old. That is, they have arraigned this man for over 10 years. No judgment passed. The judgment that they have passed from appeal court, Supreme Court, was in this man's favor. Yet, this man has not been released. Do you understand the logic there? So, let us say, for example, now, if Justice Omotosho says, okay, since federal government is charging Nnamdi Kanu for terrorism charges now, okay, Nnamdi Kanu is supposed to go to 4 years imprisonment, but Nnamdi Kanu have overstayed his time. And another thing is that even though people know that Nnamdi Kanu don't really have case to answer according to a Supreme Court judgment and all those judgments, so Justice James Omotosho, with that statement, is like someone who felt sorry for Nnamdi Kanu today and also ready to exonerate him. Can you imagine that someone was arraigned and a judge, a presiding judge, is saying this? So someone was arraigned in 2015 and this is 2025. He was 47 years old. Maybe that time he's not even a chief justice, or the level is not up to this height he is today. And look at him today now, presiding over a case that he saw 10 years ago. So, if Binta Nyako don't have conscience before, I think this judge have a conscience. Because Binta Nyako, when they arraigned Nnamdi Kanu 10 years ago, Binta Nyako should know her age. And today, she should check her age. Nnamdi Kanu is human being. It is because the man is so courageous, the man has a very big heart that you can't intimidate him, you can't quench his spirit. That is why he is still standing where he is today. The purpose of the prolongment of the judgment is just to make sure this man forget about anything he's agitating for. Break his spirit. It's a strategy. They have used it for several people around the world. That is what the Nigerian government is using for Nnamdi Kanu. But Justice James Omotosho now indirectly made the federal government to understand that this case is overdue. It's overdue. A judge told you that he was 47 years when Kanu was arraigned. Up to today, no judgment passed either against him or for him. The judgment that have been passed in appeal court and the Supreme Court is for his favor. So what is the essence of all these shenanigans? Now, I'm not saying that Justice James Omotosho is a saint, that Justice James Omotosho is a good man, or Justice James Omotosho is a bad man. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to analyze what happened in the court today. And let me tell you what you don't understand about this. This presiding judge statement further exposed federal government's team, people who are prosecuting Nnamdi Kanu, because it made them to understand that, come on, you have been prosecuting this man for 10 years. Maybe that is why he was angry with you. That is what James Omotosho was indirectly, telling them. And that was the reason why he said, on behalf of Kanu, I am sorry. I was 47 years old when Nnamdi Kanu was arraigned, when you people arraigned this man. Now I am 57 after 10 years. I think it's enough for someone to be very angry. No, you put yourself in that position. Don't you see that? It shows that that man is not biased today, but who knows tomorrow? I don't know. Nobody knows tomorrow. Now, there is a necessity to Nnamdi Kanu's freedom. It's a necessity. It's not a necessity because we just want Nnamdi Kanu to be free. You see, the incident killing in Igbo land is enough for Kanu to be released. And in my previous video I said that there will be IDP camp in Enugu State from now till June if Nnamdi Kanu is not released, because the rate of the ammunitions, the number of terrorists, the Fulani terrorists in the bush in Enugu State, they are enough to lay siege in the whole Enugu and kill everybody. Yeah, they are enough, and they are there. The other day, Sahara reporters, that was last 4 days, they went to Enugu State, they went to see Agondo, is it not Agondo, the village that Fulani herdsmen sacked. The village is empty now, so the Fulani herdsmen, terrorists are in the shooting, doing all sort of things. Now they went there to check some things, and the report they gave back was that even the place, the video, the houses they burned, they went there to video it. They were hearing the sound of these people talking from afar. Both people are speaking Arabic, and they said every 4 minutes, 5 minutes, they will shoot gun up. It's their domain. These are the reason why the release of Nnamdi Kanu is a necessity. Now, let me shift a little bit further. Anybody at this point who is not calling for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, it's an indication for you to know people who are sponsoring terrorism in Old Eastern region, and particularly Igbo land. Now, this is what I mean. If during the time of Nnamdi Kanu, the whole bush was secured, everything was going well, and ever since this man was kidnapped, especially the time he was kidnapped, and ESN was not as strong again, and because of that, politicians, they use all tools against the Biafra agitators, and what you see today now is that the Fulani terrorists that led Nnamdi Kanu to establishing ESN, they are already laying siege on people's ancestral land now and taking it over. That is just the sole purpose why Nnamdi Kanu was doing what he was doing. It was the love of his people that led him into agitating for Biafra. This is a prince. He has the money. He was trained in London, and he has everything he needed for his life without any trouble, without even fighting for anybody. Nnamdi Kanu has what it takes to drive every kind of car he wants to drive on in this life as a prince. So he made money for himself, and the man is enough for himself. But he left all those things, both his family, he sacrificed the money, the pleasure, and he started agitating. It was the love of his people that led him to start doing that. Don't let any politician deceive you. Don't be deceived by what you hear from people, blah, blah. Now, the reality is done on everyone. Look at the suffering everywhere. Look at how people are suffering. Look at the killings everywhere. Incessant killings. Nnamdi Kanu needs to come out of the detention as urgent as possible. Okay? Help me share this video so that people will understand what Nnamdi Kanu stands for. Nnamdi Kanu is never a criminal. Nnamdi Kanu has never done something that warrants what he's facing today. So that is all I have to explain about what transpired in the court today. Thanks for listening.
I want no niro. I want to use support on that reba. Come by Jim reba. Nnamdi Kanu is another savior. ojii na ndị ọrụ nchekwa na ha
Nnamdi Kanu is another savior. Holy, holy, Nnamdi Kanu is another savior.
ị ga-ahụkwa ndị ọrụ nta akụkọ jupụrụ eju ebe a nwa onye na-anọchiri ibe ya ụzọ ụgbọala ahụ ndị uwe ojii ji bịa ọlaala enweghị ọgbaghara ọbụla ya bụ enweghị ọrụ ọbụla ụgbọala rụrụ taa aga m agbalị ka m gbadatigodi ka m mara ma aga m ahụ ndị nke na-akwado Naịjirịa mara ma a ga-ekwe m ka m gbada ebe ahụ ha nọ bụ ndị nke na-emekwe ngagharị iwe na-akwado Naịjirịa mana ha na-ebetere aka ndị uwe ojii ka kpachikwere ụzọ maka na ndị uwe ojii dịka nsikwa na-ekwe ka ha nwa gbagote ebe a ndị uwe ojii a na-ekwe ka ha nwa gbagote n'akụkụ ebe a ka ndị uwe ojii anakwa ekwe ka ndị nke agbadaruo n'akụkụ ebe ahụ ha nọ iji zere ọgbaghara ọbụla
This is the end of our news update. Please click the icon on the top right corner of your screen to watch my next video. You will enjoy it. I will see you again in my next update. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye for now.